Good evening. This is Matt from OKC. Welcome to the Buc Wild Show tonight. We're having a little bit of technical problem here. My number two guy just fell off the planet. Don't know what happened to him. I'm going to have to check on where he went. We're live for Memorial Day weekend here from just outside of Oklahoma City, talking a little Buccaneers stuff. Going to talk a little bit about whatever's going on. We got Devin White. We got Tom Brady and Gronk are doing some things on the baseball field, which is kind of crazy. We got all kinds of other things we can talk about. We'll just see what pops up and how it goes. I think he might be back. Let me see if I can get Slick here on. Is that working now?
Yeah, every time you go off after we have our little chat, it just eyes on me. I don't know why, but it happened last time, but it's cool. That's cool.
I think it's because you're not official yet. So
I'm not going to
say. We're working on it. I'm going to get that taken care of when I can figure out how to get you and the boss on the same page at the same time of day. That's going to be the tricky part. So anyway, we got to hear coming live from Worcestershire, England, Mr. Slick, the Steve Probert. Is that right? No T.
Probert, yeah. Pro and Bert.
Oh, okay. Now, see, in America, we dropped that T because it's special.
Yeah.
Probert.
Yeah. That's when me and my wife went for our honeymoon. There was a lot of pro bears, and they're like, no, we're not French. Well, we waving a white flag here. We represent. You know what I'm saying?
They call that churching it up on the Joe Dirt show. Don't go churching it up now.
Churching it up. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. So what's going on in your side of the world? You know, this week, I don't know if you do it in England. This is a Memorial Day weekend for us here in the United States. And that's the weekend where we remember people that are no longer with us, that kind of thing. That's what Memorial Day is for. A lot of people get confused.
That's not armed forces. That's just general.
We have a Veterans Day that's specifically for the armed forces.
November, right?
I believe so.
And I think that's the same as us. We have Puppy Day. We wear a puppy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's supposed to represent in World War I. There was so much blood on the fields, and then they couldn't distinguish between the fields where the fighting were than the poppy fields because they were red too.
I heard that story before, and here in the States, Memorial Day is confused sometimes because it is a veterans memorial. If someone's missing as a veteran, of course, you're going to memorialize them.
For sure.
But this one's the one that they set aside for people, just everyday people. And this week,
remember you're dead.
Exactly. And this year, unfortunately, we had the incident in Texas a couple of days ago at the school. And it's a kind of a extra special kind of Memorial Day weekend. It's not. Special is not the right word.
No,
it's obviously this one means a little bit
bigger
more
one.
To a lot of people.
Bigger.
Exactly. And so I want to give them a little bit of a tip of the hat. I don't know how I would act. You and I were talking about our kids earlier. If I was in that school, they would have had to shoot me to get me not to go in there and do whatever needed to be done. And that's just how I look at it. But that's all for
the same mindset, though. I think there's probably people with the same mindset, but it's just one of those things that unfortunately it happened, and it's the circumstances that it happens. Like, it's unforced. It just, you know what I mean? You can't plan for it.
No, and you know, here in the States, we talk every time one of these things happens every 5 years or something to that effect. It always comes up to the same argument with different factions, whatever, you know, gun control, this, that, and the other thing.
For sure.
Everybody talks about it, then nobody does anything about it until the next time. And when they say, we remember Sandy Hook and we remember Columbine. And well, if you did, then what? What did you get out of it? You didn't get diddly out of it, because as the facts come out of this stuff in Texas, it's not a pretty picture. But that's enough of that. We did this last week. You got sidetracked on real politics, and I don't want to do that.
We did. We got sidetracked. But just to add a little 2 cents worth in there, I can honestly say, like, in England and other countries that have had this kind of stuff happen in its past, when they have gone to gun control laws, it has lessened the damage. And the problem is, it's just a big trade, and money speaks. That's
Well,
what I can say.
yeah, we have this thing called the Constitution, and the second article is right to bear arms.
Is it the Second Amendment?
Yep, and the thing about it is the people that would be affected if you ban guns are not the ones that are using them. So that's enough of that. I'm going to go down the wrong track again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is one of those topics that you could talk for hours on, and it's probably best we just talk Buc football.
And somebody would get pissed off eventually. I guarantee it.
There's always someone. You know what I'm saying? There's something get pissed off. Well, we're going to talk about football anyway, so
Well, let's talk about one thing I saw this week that really jumped off the page to me, and it was Devin White. For some reason, this was Devin White week on Facebook, and
I think I saw.
I didn't know this, but he's going to go into this year at 24 years old. That means he's younger than a handful of the rookies that they signed already. He's already played 4 years, and he's younger than
it's 2 years. 2 years.
No, this is his. They gave him his.
This will be his third year. Third year.
Well, let me look here, because what I think I saw was that. Let's see. He received his 4-year, $29.3 million contract to begin his NFL career, and they recently picked up his 5th year, starting him at $11.7 million during the 2023. So if that's the 5th year, that means he's in his 4th now. He's already got 3 behind him, but this will be his 4th year.
All right, okay.
That's the way I interpret.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because he's the year behind Vita Vea.
Yeah, he's 2023 is not this year. The Super Bowl will be in 2023, but that's not this year.
Yeah, so he's got 1 more year. Yeah, he's got 1 more year. I don't know if the 2024. Yeah, I think 2024 would be his option year, but they usually want to sign them before the option year if they can.
Well, whatever they got, he's making a boatload of money, friend. And I mean to tell you, that's a $11.7 million coming to him next year. I'm so broke and realistic about money that if you had me getting $3 million a year for 4 years, I'd be so happy. I'd be doing anything you ask for 3 years, and then you come up on the 4th and you're going to triple it. No, you can go ahead and do that. I'll even cut you a break. You don't have to triple it. You can just double it, and I'm good. It's
a different world. It's a different world when you're an athlete.
Somebody I know had an opportunity to work with Todd Bowles this week.
That's awesome.
And sold him a whole bunch of stuff for a new house. And it was just happenstance. Just happened to be the right guy at the right time, at the right moment, with the right opportunity to be the guy standing there at the door when the man showed up with his wife. And how do you handle that when you're a Bucs fan? You know what he makes. He's making so many millions. So you know it's not a money issue. All you got to do is find the right product because he's got the cash. And off you go and see how much he wants to spend. That kind of stuff never happened to me, but I can tell you I have photographic evidence that actually did take place.
That's all right.
I can't tell you who it is because he said he didn't want to talk about it on the air.
That's cool. Because to be honest, I'm quite a frugal person. I'm as cheap as you. Everyone calls my best friend calls me the cheapest person ever. Like I hate it. But the way I look at it is I'm trying to safeguard my family's future. That's the way I look at it. I don't care about anything else.
That's the way you got to look at it. You got to look at 20 years down the road because the biggest problem I have is I never did that. And so I'm playing catch up all the time.
I was very lucky. I had a father who was quite frugal, and I had a father who always taught me I'm not saying anyone is lesser, but really taught me the value of money. So literally the day I signed my first deal with a company as a worker or something like that, because I didn't go to further education because I didn't know what I wanted to be, didn't know what I wanted to do. And I'm a creature comforts guy, so as soon as I got comfortable where I was working, I was like, I'm just staying here. It's a bad thing because I reckon I could probably have earned a lot more money, but I'm happy. So, my wife.
Half of it has to do with what you're good at, where you're at, if you're able to do it. The big trick is to find happiness within the confines of what you have to work with. And Americans can't do that. We believe in credit. Easy buy, can do it right now. Sign today. Here you go. Pay later. You can drive it home and not pay anything.
But I have the money to back it up. So I've always been the mindset of, my dad taught me one thing: don't buy it if you don't have the money. And I don't know why he told me this, because my dad is terrible for this. Since
Because
he told me it.
the
Because
biggest anchor on any consumer right now in the world, the people that are in the real world with banks and whatnot, the biggest enemy to everybody's income is interest, because that's what kills
I
you.
pay that on my mortgage. So yeah, you're right. You're right.
I mean, right now, 3 months ago, if you'd have mortgaged a house, you got a 0 interest loan. 0. Now it's 5%. You start a home is $450,000. It's $500,000 to get a starter home nowadays. New. That's not a house in Oklahoma. It's a house in like Phoenix or Dallas or somewhere like that that's got a real city.
I got you, but still, it's still money. You know what I'm saying?
$400,000 is a ton. When I was your age, and that wasn't that long ago, $400,000 would have bought you a huge house, but it doesn't anymore. Because number one, COVID and all this crap that's going on, you can't get anything to build them with. There's no 2x4s, there's no roofs, there's no tiles, there's nothing you can't get a hold of anything reasonably because of supply demand things. Because all the plants that make that stuff were shut down for a year and a half, and then they got back orders they got to fill. Going on, it's like the movie industry right now. You get a new movie every Friday. You get 5 new movies out because they have so many.
Yeah, you'll catch up.
Release. They got to clear the warehouse. And it's gotten like that now with that. But the interest rate is what kills you. So if I was a Buc or a pro football player, I would look at interest in the reverse and find something that's going to gain me the most interest on the millions that I make, and do what Gronk did, which is he lived off his commercials and put all his football money in the bank, in the investments and in the stock market and all that. He lives off of endorsements. He never has spent a dime of his NFL cash.
Is this true? I didn't know this. This is something I've never knew.
That's what he said several years ago. But when he was in New England, he was there 2 contracts, 3 contracts.
He's quite a frugal guy, because he's very you look at Gronk. He's, other than his body type, he does come across as very the kind of party common man. You know, he just wants to have a bit of fun. Yeah. I can't imagine his lifestyle really, unless he's into hard drugs, I can't imagine his lifestyle costing very much. And I read an article where he went on, I think, I can't, because we have our version of it over here. Is it The Price is Right with Harvey? Steve Harvey?
The game show.
So the Gronk family went on that, and apparently he said backstage they were just supping beer like it was nothing, necking beers. And they're like, they weren't even drunk, they were just drinking the whole time. And it just looks like they're just a very good time, like we're with the good times, good time family. We don't care, we're having fun.
Good blue collar kind of guy.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes Gronk so likable.
I think that's why people are attracted to him, because he comes off. You get the image that he's the guy next door, and you get the image that you could hang out with him at Home Depot or Lowe's.
Yeah, for sure.
He'll build a backyard shed somewhere with him, and it'd be 2 cases of beer and a couple of hammers, and it'd be good times.
Absolutely.
But they what he used to say is that he would go and he put his money away, and then he'd get his endorsements for Pizza Hut or whatever it is, and live from that money and never touch his football money. Now that may have changed to where he's living off of the advances that they give him, and he's putting the rest.
He probably has an agent who.
Oh my God!
Is control of his money.
And if I hear that years from now he's broke, it just shocked the hell out of me, because there is a huge list. I don't know if you know this. There is a huge list of NFL stars that are in the Hall of Fame, even that are broke, that got out of the league.
They're one in our team. There's one in our team. His name's Warren Sapp.
Yeah, he's an idiot. Okay, I'll put that right out there. He didn't deserve what he got, and what he had, he didn't know how to handle.
He was one of the greatest free techs this game's ever seen, though.
He is, and that's why he's broke, because he spent all his money
on whatever he wanted to spend his money. Let's not go into the.
He's going to do whatever he wanted to do, whenever he wanted to do it, with whoever he wanted to do it to, and it'll always keep coming, because he was always the greatest. Even Pop Warner, when he was a little leaguer, was always the greatest, going to be the biggest, going to be the baddest. And then he got age, age turns into can't play as much, reality sets in. You start getting contracts instead of for the millions. You start looking at $100,000 deals with a TV broadcast, and you can only do so much. So you didn't save
he got
any.
involved in NFL Network when it was in its infancy as well. So there probably wasn't as much money there.
And he didn't last because he screwed it up, right? He went out there and wasted it. And if you watch that tape when he's in the police precinct being questioned, and they walked out and they still got the tape running, and he's sitting there, you can tell from the expression on his face and what he's saying, oh, Jesus, or whatever. He knew that he just screwed himself out of any job he's going to ever get for the next 5 years after that happened with that stuff going on around the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. That's the Super Bowl 2014 with Seahawks versus the Patriots, is it?
I think so. He
I just remember the meme of
he's trying to haggle with prostitutes after the fact.
Carol passed. Because obviously, so I couldn't, something like that. I saw and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, that was the dumbest thing I have ever heard. A man of means, supposedly, doing what he wanted to do, knowing what he was getting into, and then trying to whip them out of money. And he deserved what he got. I'm not one necessarily.
When you're in the position of paying somebody to do things like that, you're kind of at their mercy, because when you're a celebrity like he is,
exactly,
or like he was, you are relying on their professionality, so I suppose,
and discretion.
And discretion, of course.
They have to keep your name down low, and that way you repeat business later, and everybody's happy. But he went and screwed it all up, and they showed him how easy it is, because they don't give a damn if they're going to go in jail overnight. They went to jail, they got out, they got bond, they did their little thing, whatever happens all the time.
Well, the money was being known that their name was connected with his.
Yeah, and he put himself out there and got just destroyed over it. Chris Carter's another one that does that. Gets everything working for him, blows it up. And that part to me, I just don't understand. Pro sports gives you an opportunity to do stuff that you and I will never do, because we just aren't gifted enough, and we haven't had the ability to do it. So we don't even think about it.
I think this is why I don't try and think too much about it, because I think because we've not been in that situation, we kind of look at it with keen eyes, I like to call it, is where we go, oh, I do this and I do that and I do this, and we've never, we've all got good family morals. I don't doubt Sap's family morals, and I don't doubt this person's family morals or anything. What I'm saying is, I just think we've not been in their shoes, and it's very easy to judge. I'm not saying that you would do it. I'm not saying I would do it. Probably
I'd have judged him.
Would do it.
If I was a cop that arrested him, I'd have told him, "You dumbass! Look what you did to yourself. Look at what you're doing right now. What are you doing, you dumbass?"
You're gonna play the "Do you know who I am" card kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm not going to do the good cop. Yeah, well, I don't know if you follow NASCAR or not, but there was a driver that's named Kurt Busch.
Okay,
he was.
We don't follow it over here.
He was the first Busch brother of the two to make it in NASCAR, and he was doing very well. He was moving up from the lower grade cars to a new ownership, to a better team, to a better this, to a better that. And he went to Phoenix, Arizona, when I was living down there. And they have the Phoenix International Raceway. They do a race there every year, maybe two sometimes, from NASCAR. Well, he was there for that weekend. He got pulled over DUI. And that was the night before the race. So they took him to the damn the cop comes up to him and asks him for his ID and stuff. And he says, "Don't you know who I am? I'm Kurt Busch." And he hands him his driver's license. He says, "Well, I'm pleased to meet you. It's a shame you're not going to have a good race tomorrow, because you'll probably be occupied at the jail." And they arrested his ass and took him downtown. And then he lost his ride. He lost the ownership. He got fined by NASCAR. He was out of the race. He spent the weekend in jail. He comes back the next year, goes into the I Love a Cop program, and ends up being what do you call it? He got back in the NASCAR, but at a much lower rung. And he's just now getting to the point at this past year. He got signed by Michael Jordan and Jordan's team, and he's doing well again. But it took him better part of a decade, a better part of a decade.
Figure it all out and get it right. Yeah. It can do.
To reconstruct what he threw away over one statement. Do you know who I am? I'm Kurt Busch. I don't care. You're drunk. You're going to jail. That's the part. That part.
Do you want to be the guy who just jails a drunk, or do you want to be the guy who jails the dude from NASCAR?
I don't think the cop took anything out of it except doing his job.
Possibly, but at the same time, like I mean, you can look at everything from every different angle, but at the same time, you know, it gives you a little something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was the dude.
What people don't realize is Phoenix and Scottsdale, they have everyday occurrences like they do in LA with big celebrities that are there for whatever reason with their entourage and whatever. And then they are accustomed to dealing with that. It's not sticker shock when you see somebody like Britney Spears walking into a department store. It doesn't freak the people out. They're like, oh, well, look at that. She's here today. And they go and do their sales stuff. Yeah. And other parts of the country, like here in Oklahoma City, somebody walked in to a Dillard's like Russell Westbrook or Kevin Durant when they were here with the Thunder. People would stop what they're doing and everybody would flock around them and act crazy. Oh, look at that is because it's a local star. It's just where you're at and what they're accustomed to. And assuming that Phoenix was going to let him slide was the worst thing he ever did. And he learned a valuable lesson. NASCAR taught him a valuable lesson, but he learned it. So now if it happened again, he wouldn't do the Warren Sapp thing. He would avoid that track. And that's what
I think that's one. I think people play the card just in case it gets away. But I heard a good story on Fred Taylor, the Jags running back in the day. Right. He was at the University of Florida, and he was rookie there or redshirt in his first year, and he went out on a party or something like this. And back in the day when college football was wild, not as clean cut as it was now, and They went out. They had a good party and what have you. And the campus police were looking for them. They hadn't got back to their dorms or something. I don't know the exact story. And so they ran, and he followed this dude that he was, hanging out with in camp and stuff because he'd been there a year already. So he's like, this guy knows the way to go. One went left, one went right, and one got caught. And he sat in their version of a police car because obviously the campus security have their own police. Mm-hmm. And he's like, aren't you the new tailback we just got recruited? And he's like, yeah. Oh, get the fuck out of my squad car. I didn't see you today. And I think when you have things like that happen to you in college, that's going to make you think the police are going to do that, but the police don't care. Because they're not governed by the
they used to be back in Fred Taylor's day. I mean that was a big deal. That's why O.J. Simpson got away with so much is because he was O.J. And like it or not, there are people who get a kick out of being a friend of a celebrity, whatever it is. And I'm always his off-duty doorman when he's having a party when I'm not on duty. He calls me up, whatever, because I know O.J. Simpson or I know Fred Taylor, or I know Warren Sapp or whatever. And it's just, that's the nature, the parasites that come with success. So that's something that's out there. But Devin White is looking at a big fat check for that.
100 mil. I'm
110.
110?
Let me look that up again.
5 years?
Yeah, something to that effect. Let me see if I can't find it now. It's in the title. Get $100 million plus contract in 2023.
Do you know what that does? That sets up, is it Micah Parsons? Micah Parsons will be the next dude. When you look at inside linebackers, those are the two right now that just joined the league that do contracts. I mean, I can't remember is it Fred, the guy at San Francisco. I'm not too sure what his last name is. Something Fred. I honestly can't remember. I don't follow San Francisco football at all. But these are guys that are coming up. And they're the next generation. I mean, if I looked at two linebackers right now that are really tearing up the league, making a name for themselves, it's Micah Parsons and Devin White for sure.
And Devin White's learning everything from that other guy.
Levante, yeah. For sure.
And in this article, they actually call Levante David one of the top linebackers of this decade. You never see that in print. I don't know what this guy was doing, but he actually said it out loud, which is kind of
I think
crazy.
it's a backdoor thought. With the problem with Levante, like I'm a huge fan of Bussing with the Boys, and Will Compton, who's one of the hosts of it, went to Nebraska, which is where Levante went, and he's had Levante on his podcast a couple of times, and he said the biggest problem you have, and he said this right to his face, is like, you have no social media presence, like you are nobody on social media, because Levante cuts his social media off mid-season. Like, as soon as the season starts, his social media does not exist. He deletes all accounts or puts them on hold, whatever. He's focused on football and footballing, which is great.
That's the way you do it.
You do. And I don't know if it'll pay off in the long run because of the way the world is right now. But you know what? If it works for him, who cares?
He's getting his money's worth. That guy gets paid.
I think if you speak to pros, they'll turn around and say Levante David is at least a top five. They'd
say the same about Devin White. I think that 54 and 45 are probably the best tandem in the league.
Oh, for sure. One
of the best tandems. I don't know. There might be somebody else bigger, but
I remember watching something with him and with Devin White. I think he did Bussing with the Boys, and I think it's the coolest thing I could ever hear a Buc say was, "Oh well, you know, me and Levante, we're like how Brooks and Nickerson used to be. I'm Nickerson, he's Brooks, and we just got that tandem going. You know, he's going to show me the road."
Hardy Nickerson and Derek Brooks were just phenomenal.
I'm very lucky that I got to have the opportunity to spend some time with Hardy Nickerson via internet.
Yeah.
He did like I'm trying to think of a classroom session for my team. And he just talked about cover 2 because that's what he lives and dies in. He just got re-signed. I won't say re-signed, but he just got signed up again as I can't remember the team's name. Bishop Dowdy. It's a Californian team where he's from in Oakland. That he was head coach of. So he's just been re-signed as head coach of that team, which his son played for, and then he had a bit of a stint because he was a linebackers coach at the Bucs for a while.
Yeah, he was, and he was in the NFL for a bit as a coach. Yeah. I know that.
He was Levante's coach.
Yeah, and they're going to end up, somebody like that would be a hell of a coach if they turn out to be decent coaches. It's amazing to me how many great players can't coach. I mean, Singletary is one that comes to mind. Mm-hmm. Mike Singletary was the most intense lineman in the league, linebacker, I think.
Yeah, linebacker. He's that guy with the eyes, like
big eyes. And he's "Oh, I'm here for that party. I'll party like that all day." He's got that quote on one of the NFL tapes. But the guy was a monster, and then he becomes a coach, and he's got that same intensity, but his brain doesn't work like the guy that's lesser than him. The average guy that comes in the league, he can't talk to because that person doesn't have the skills, doesn't have the want to, doesn't have the drive that he's got, and you can't put that in somebody. That the intangibles are the hard part. And if you got too much of it, like Jordan never really had to work at anything once he got the rhythm, and he turned himself into a monster by dedicating himself and putting himself in a position to always get better. Nobody had to tell him you got to get better this year. He did it himself. And it was whether he was playing basketball or baseball or whatever it was, anything he's doing, even golf, I got to get better. That's why his NASCAR team is doing so well. He knows that it takes money, but it also takes good team. It takes good coaching. It takes good structure. And you can't starve it by not giving it the money that it needs. And he's got the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's got a startup team in NASCAR that's in the top 10 every week. That just doesn't happen. So certain people can touch things because of the way they operate, but he can't turn around. Jordan could never be, and Magic Johnson's a good example. Magic Johnson couldn't coach in basketball to save his life because, number one, his brain, like I was just explaining, thought about basketball, images of basketball in his sleep, woke up talking basketball, always drove himself to be better, and surrounded himself by very good players, and was concentrating in that realm the whole time. Today's basketball player, when he was a coach, everybody was text messaging and doing their crap on their phones while they're supposed to be in the locker room learning and stuff. They didn't have the dedication, and he couldn't make that work in his head. He couldn't function with that mindset. So he had to get out of coaching completely. And it happens more often than not. Larry Bird was the only NBA coach that I ever saw that was as good as a coach as a player. So that's a lot of rarity in that. And the same things hold true.
You find it's players that were on the bubble, like the backups and stuff like that. So you got like the backup quarterbacks coach for the Dallas Cowboys, Jason Garrett.
Yeah, Jason Garrett. Oh my God, he was a worthless. 10 years of that guy. Good Lord Almighty! No wonder Dallas is so bad off right now. He do you watch the USFL at all?
I've watched a little bit of it, not a lot.
Well, Jason Garrett is their prime time announcer, color guy.
Okay.
And they have, you've probably seen it where they do a challenge on a game. It goes straight to Mike Ferrero as soon as the call's made. Mike Ferrero is the head of officiating, and he gets to look at everything. And if somebody challenges the call, he makes the verdict on that, right?
Okay.
Well, he screwed up on a play and forced the team to call a timeout because he didn't stop the play and review it. And then 2 or 3 plays later, he admitted that I should have stopped it, but I got in a hurry and I didn't see what I thought I saw, and I made a mistake. So Jason Garrett tells him on the air in front of all the nation, because it was on a night when everybody was on the air. Mm-hmm. He's talking about, you need to make a makeup call because you screwed him out of a timeout that he'll never get back. You can make that work. And Mike Fiero said, don't even put me in that situation. I made a mistake, but I can't fix it like that. That's just not reasonable. It's not.
That's like turning around to the cornerback who gave up the big play and just say, "Oh, I want to redo."
He says that's how you do makeup calls. Jason Garrett said it right out loud.
You can tell that the coach talking, because like us coaches, we always want that. You know, we'd love a redo when it goes down. We always want a redo, but you got to be realistic. And my team's playing tomorrow, so I'm quite excited. We got a big game. It's against our big rivals, Hereford, which is our crosstown rivals. Hereford Stampede, and we're Knights, so hopefully we can ride that little pony.
There you go.
There we go. I got my team speech ready, so starters are announced, and it's all ready to rock and roll.
Any given Sunday.
I got better than that. I got better than that. We're riding this pony for the gates of hell, baby.
Oh, look at that! All right.
Would you rather be a horse, or would you rather have the sauce?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm motivated. Give me some pads. I'll go out there.
It's all good. We got some. Hopefully, it'll be a fun one. But yeah, this is big for us because it's our first home game as well this year, and unfortunately, we're fighting a 15-game losing streak.
Oh, you didn't have to bring that up. You're a Bucs fan.
Yeah, you know, and I bring it up because it's real. You know, it's happening. It's happening.
Wow.
So, but that's gonna get snapped. People.
The odds of keeping that going are less than not doing.
I won't tell them that, because that means they don't have to work hard. I told them they got to put everything in this game. I told them their ass is on the fucking line.
That's why it is that way, because
they're playing for that, and they're playing for that.
Right. I understand. Well, I hope you have a good outcome.
I'll let you know. Either way, win or lose, I'll probably end up boozing. I'm telling you that much for sure.
Wow. Well, we don't want you to do that.
I don't mean it like American style of boozing. I mean English style, where you just have a few drinks and just chill.
Oh, well,
I'm not drowning my sorrows. It's just, you know, sometimes a couple of sups, you know, you just relax and you sit back in the back and you're like, yeah, that was a tough day. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully I'm sat there supping and going, damn, that was good. This tastes sweet now.
There you go. And the house buys around. Yeah, that would be the way. All the English and Irish pubs that I ever went to that are Americanized, it's the only place where you buy beer by the pint.
Okay.
And I ended up counting pints one night, and I ended up with a gallon. I was like, I don't even know if I could do the math
To be honest, it's how many pints? Yeah, I remember when you were young, it was all about like as you're becoming a man, so to speak.
Quart. Yeah, you got liters, milliliters, and kilos and all that crap, and I could learn.
We have everything because we have to follow the European metric system and our own. So it's like we have kilos, we have grams, we have ounces, we have everything. It's really freaking confusing. I don't know if someone's going to come out and they're like, this boxer is weighing at, and I'm like,
5 stone,
how big that is.
5 stone 2,
Yeah.
5 stone 2. That's what they used to say.
That's really freaking long. But like, I'd say to my friends, because I work in a factory, I work in a cake factory. Lucky for me, great for my children. And we weigh everything in kilos. So I weigh myself in kilos because we have these industrial kilos. So when I was in a point where I was trying to lose a little bit of weight, and trying to stay in trim for the wife, make her, feel good, make her realize she's got something nice at home. The motor's still humming. And I'll be looking at myself in kilos, and they're like, so how much do you weigh in stone? I have no idea, but I weigh 70 something kilos. And they're like, oh, what's that in stone? And I have no idea. Very heavy ones? I don't know. So I've become metricized because it's easier. It is easier.
It's so much more American. Back in the 70s, Jimmy Carter tried to get us to go metric. The same guy who gave us the first gas shortage. And he changed all the road signs on the interstate from 55 to 88. But it's 88.
Are you miles per an hour or you keep kilometers per an hour?
Well, 88 is kilometers and 55 was miles.
So what are you now?
Well, now we're back to miles per hour.
That's where we're at. We're miles. Okay, we speak the same language. You say kilometers to me, and I'm like.
Well, they also passed a law at that time to make the speedometer on your car outer ring.
We got both.
Yeah, you got the inner ring is kilometers.
Yeah. It works. If you get a foreigner come over, they know how to use the car, so it works.
The biggest trouble you have over here is driving on the other side of the road. I mean, that's just.
You know what? We're to be honest, it's not that big of a deal because most of Europe rides on the same side. It's just us. We're like us and the Japanese. We'll ride on the wrong side.
Well, our postmen all have right-hand drive, so that's because they got to be next to the post box when they pull up. So they put the steering wheel on the other side. So when you buy a Jeep in America, you can order it right-hand side without a major kerfuffle about it. They're like, okay, fine. They check the box because they make postal trucks, and they've got a contract, so they can make right-hand side without any issues whatsoever. But if you go to a Ford or a Chevy and you want right-hand side, they look at you like you're cross-eyed. What the hell's wrong with you? There's something you don't understand.
What witchcraft is this?
Yeah, because they got to move the master cylinder and the master.
The
whole thing that's on the left in front of the driver is a little box, basically, of stuff that you can't put anywhere else because things get in the way.
Matt, what was the brand you said that could do it?
Jeep, AMC.
Where they? Oh, okay, AMC. Sorry, I was thinking if it was like BMW or something. They make cars.
AMC Jeep is Chrysler now. Chrysler owns, and you call them Daimler Chrysler, I think. Daimler was the Jaguar, right? I think. Chrysler bought a whole bunch of European car labels 10 years ago.
I think Jags are now BMW. I mean, I don't follow cars, so my car is an A to B thing. I have no idea what it does. I have no idea how miles to the gallon it does. I have no many horses are inside it. All I know is I can get it A to B and not spend a lot of money. That's all I care about.
Then that's what most people are. I mean, my kids don't know how to change oil, and it drives me crazy because you have to teach. When I was a kid, you had to go around the car and check the tires, make sure they weren't low, because air temperature changes them, and you get soft tires, you end up.
We have the same temperature 90% of the time.
Right.
They don't change that much.
We had to change the oil every 2 months, 3 months, because that's what you had to do. Now they've gotten motor oil to a point where you don't have to change it but once a year. They'll tell you.
Now you can pay someone to do it for you.
Absolutely. While you're sitting in the car. I'm sitting there reading a book while they're doing an oil change, and I can't get through 2 chapters before they're done saying, see you later, bye. And hit me up for $50, I'm like, damn, that doesn't seem right. But that's how it works nowadays.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, you got under the car and you pulled the plug out and you put the pan under there and
You
your car
fiddled
all
everything. Yeah.
you got
That's
your
cool.
hand all cold in oil, and then when you check the transmission, you always had to start the car. You have to know the difference. Don't start the car and check the oil because it won't read right. And if you don't start the car and check your transmission, it won't read right when it's off. So you got to know all these little things. And you had to remember to do something with your radiator. Every year you had to have it flushed and change the antifreeze and that kind of thing. Technology's gotten to the point now where if you buy it, you drive your lean out.
It just doesn't last as long.
You don't have to do anything to it. You can just get in the damn thing and go. And so I was telling Teresa one night, my kids won't even learn how to drive because by the time they're 30, the smart car is going to be out and it'll be common. Smart electric car. You just tell it, Google, I want to go to the airport. Off it goes. You don't even have to do anything. And that's so close to being real right now.
I get a lot of flack with a lot of my friends about why my wife doesn't drive. And a lot of people come up to me like, so why doesn't your wife drive? I'm like, because she doesn't need to. And they're like, why? And I'm the ultimate reverse of sexist. And I'm like, because she doesn't need to. Like, but what if she wants to? I'm like, I mean, she can, but it'll cost a lot of money. And they're like, but you're stopping your wife from driving. I went, so let me break it down for you. I turned to my wife. My wife's name is Fiona. Sophie, because she said to me, I'm thinking of driving. I went, okay, that's cool. What are you going to use the car for? She went, well, I could go and visit my friend. I went, how often do you want to visit your friend? In a month. About twice. Okay. What else do you want to do with the car? I could go and pick up some groceries and it's less stress on you. Okay, so should we have the groceries? Yeah, okay. So you're going to use the car 4 times a month? Yeah, because her work is across the road from where we live. Walkable distance. It's a 10-minute walk to her work. Okay. And this is my goal with everything in life when I try and understand why someone's doing something. So when COVID, all this, I'm on their side. Okay, cool. What car do you want? I want one of those nice little Fiat 500s. I don't know if they have them over there. There's this little tiny micro car that doesn't do anything. Yeah. They
don't. You're basically sitting in the trunk, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. And you can get them for about, I'm trying to do the conversion, about $120 a month.
That's $25,000 around here, I think.
$125 a month for 4 years. You don't own the car. You put petrol in it and you pay your insurance. So okay, so that's 100 in this and your insurance is going to be this. And I was like, right. So you're telling me you want us as a couple to spend over £400, so that's probably close to $550.
Yeah.
$550, so you can see your friend
once a month,
potentially twice a month, and occasionally do and go grocery shopping occasionally twice a month. So, yeah, I said take a taxi.
Yeah, well, in their case, it would be cheaper that way. And
it would, and she saw the logic of it.
America,
she was like, you know what, you're absolutely right. And we didn't. People looked at me like I was mad because I said there's no point. Because I said it like that, and I told her there's no point, and they looked at me like, you told your wife there's no point in her driving? I'm like, let me explain. And then that's when the story came, and they were like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And I was like, there's a logic to my madness. There always is. But it is. I got a question for you. What do you think about this whole Tom Brady talking trash on the golf course? Are you a golfer?
God. Is there anything Tom Brady can't do well? He got a hole in one the other day.
It's true.
And I'm like,
have you kept up with it?
With the ego stroke that kid needs. I mean, Jesus Christ. I just wish there's something. I want to see if he can do curling, with the little brush.
I tell you what, he can't do run a 40.
No, he can't. He still can't. But he can run better now than he did when he came in the league.
Oh, for sure. So,
I'll give him that much. But
so what I was trying to lean into this is, obviously, I don't know if you heard it. Obviously, have you heard some of the trash talk that he's given out? The Mike Evans one?
Oh, no, I didn't hear that.
Okay, so basically he had some mock-ups of wide receivers for the guys he's playing against. And that would be Patrick Mahomes, that would be Aaron Rodgers, and it would be the guy from the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
He literally just turns around and went, so I got my guy, Mike. Oh, Aaron doesn't have Devontae anymore. Patrick, you don't have Hill anymore. And yeah,
Josh Allen.
Someone's going to end up leaving you. But my boy Mike has never left me. Mike, I can tell you for not. Mike's my dude. And I was like, it was just the way he did it. It was just smooth. I sent it to my wife. My wife isn't even a big American football fan, but she's become an American football fan just because of how it gets brought up.
I am so, and I'm a Buc fan, and I've been with them forever, and I know this is sacrilegious, but I just am so tired of Tom Brady. And I don't give a shit. I don't give a damn if we win the Super Bowl or not. I just want him to get done and go away.
No.
Because then we can get back to being a football team. We can go back to being
a football team, but we're a football team of relevance. That means something.
I got an article in here about him and Gronk.
I got the perfect one for you, Matt. I found you the perfect article because I'm going to lean into this later. See, I got this all written down. We'll get that. We're going to talk trash talk for a little bit. We're going to talk about Will Goulston wanting to kill Jameis Winston, which I love. And we're going to talk Spot the Gronk.
Spot the Gronk. Oh, God.
Spot the Gronk.
We don't need Gronk.
We've already hit Devin White's little hitting another level.
You didn't see Rick Hughes here talking shit.
No, unfortunately not.
You know, he retired.
Stop it. Look,
he retired his show the other night.
I'm going to tell you now, just enjoy the ride. Just enjoy it. Because it's going to end. It will end.
You sound like Rick. You didn't like it when we had our last quarterback stop finding ways to be unhappy at the best of times. I am happy, but I'm tired of the press. That's all. And people can't understand that. In 5 years, look, here's Fred comes in. 5 years, he'll be gone. All of a sudden,
he's gone tomorrow. He's gone the end of this year. He ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. That money's too. That Fox money's too good. That Fox money's too good.
How in the world does a company sign up? I'm waiting for your contract. That's what that is. It's whenever you decide to come on in. Here's some money. We'll give
because
it to
of the name. That's
and
all it is.
They're trying to outdo
everyone else.
Dallas. Who's the quarterback in Dallas? Tony
Romo.
Okay, he's Mr. ESPN. Yeah. He's got ESP. The guy's like, oh look, they're going to do this, that, and the other thing. Here we go. XY receiver watch is going across the middle of post position.
And it's impressive because we all sit there going, how did he know that? And Tom Brady's going to turn around and go, you know what? I know better than him. And he does. He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. And he probably has a better relation. I mean, imagine the GOAT going toe-to-toe, city to city, talking with their quarterback. How much are they going to love just talking to Tom Brady?
Well, I don't know. They like talking to him now. Did you see last year when he got done at the game at Dallas? That at the end of the game, okay, he went up to Des. What's his name?
Des
Prescott.
Des Prescott.
Okay.
Des Prescott. Yep.
They were having their post-game little shaking hands thing,
and he said, "I'll see you later," and he was wrong.
And Brady turned around and said no, and he laughed. He had this big nasty Joker grin on his face, like, you're so full of shit. Get out of here. And that's what he turned out to be correct. But people were scared. They were scared. They thought it was going to happen. And it could happen this year. We'll find out in the first week of the regular season.
Matt, when Tom is Tom. Just let Tom be Tom.
I'm going to let him be Tom in the press box, and I'm going to have to watch him once a day or once a week. I don't have to listen to this crap all day long. I mean, I'm getting this article here on Bucs Report talking about Gronk and Brady.
This is the part of the NFL that makes my wife like it because she's like, "Oh my god, they test strips out of each other. This is fun." Like I thought everyone played honorable and it's all sportsmanship. I was like, not in the NFL. And she's like, "This is good. I like it. It's juicy." And I'm like, "Okay."
They talk crap. They hate each other. They get to the point where they don't want to see each other, and then he's going to be the guy.
The shit talking was this isn't new. This is something old. Like I've read some good stuff. Chad Johnson, the king of trash talk.
Yeah, Chad.
That's like 10 years ago.
But
you turn around at the corner that was guarding him at Baltimore and say, "I'm going to run this. Try and stop me. I'm going to have this and your mama," and do it. And he did it.
But the thing is that Chad Johnson was a wide receiver in the era of T.O.
I'm sure quarterbacks, we just didn't hear it because they try and make quarterbacks clean cut. Because quarterbacks are all American. Quarterbacks are pretty boys that don't do anything wrong. And I think that's why we're in a new generation where quarterbacks are finally allowed to have that mouth. And Tom Brady's loving it.
Yeah.
Because
I want the games to start. Then he can talk about something worthwhile. Right now, talking about Tom Brady across the street from Tampa Stadium at the Yankees field, hitting baseballs with his play card on his wrist, while Gronk's there hitting baseballs. They're playing in the outfield football while they're talking about spring training baseball. So whatever. I don't give a damn. He wants to go play baseball. Let him be Michael Jordan. He want to go try to hit a curve. Knock yourself out. Go ahead. I am so tired of it. I just want him to play. I want him to play and get out there and do something where I can go, damn, that's our guy. We're going to get our 30. We're not even that team this year. We're going to be getting 24 if we're lucky because we're going to be playing a completely different kind of game. And you show me that and I'll be happy because you're going to have to rely on guys that don't have all the fanfare because Leonard Fournette is not doing commercials every half hour. He's not on TV every other game show that comes up. They talk about Tom Brady on a question. So we're going to have a team that's going to be more normal.
So I take it you hate the Gronk and Tommy commercials.
I think Tom and Gronk are being played because it gets people going and people like me get pissed off about it. People like you live off of it. Your wife is like, wow, I can't believe it. And that's
I love it.
They're hitting the market every single time they're hitting somebody the way they expect to. They're pissing me off. They're making you happy. Your wife's becoming a fan, which is the ultimate idea to get more fans, and they're pulling it off. So goody. Just get out there and play. Go play the game.
You almost said that like it was through your teeth, like goody.
It's like Hannibal Lecter said it in the Kill the Butterfly thing. That's the guy that quote goody.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, Silence of the Lambs. That was him. His best line. Well, goody. I love that. That's great. Anyway, so we got.
So who's your favorite trash talker?
Oh, well,
anybody. It could be a Buc. It could be non-Buc. Who's your favorite trash talker? I got a couple here who are modern.
I don't really know because I don't pay that much attention to it anymore.
You don't. I love trash talking because I used to trash. For me, when I first played, I played corner, and I was not that great at it because I'm not that fast. Basically, I got into football very, very old, unfortunately for me. So I went to free safety, so I got to hit more, and I realized that I couldn't catch a cold. I had hands like I had hands like a digital watch. So I just hit everything. And we had this dude. His name's I'm gonna name drop him because he's probably not listening because he's a Raiders fan. Phil Dine. He's slightly younger than myself, but he's been playing football for a long time, and he just hit everything. And he weighed less than me, and I was like, this dude is killing people. It's like smashing them. I mean, he died every play. They had to cut him off the field every time, but he killed people. They glued him back together, and he went back out.
Yeah,
I'm like, I want to be this dude, and he inspired me to just want to just go out and hit. And I was like, okay, I can't catch, but I'll make sure I kill somebody when they're trying to catch a ball. And that's how I played, and that's when a bit of confidence started getting me, and that's when a bit of trash talk came in, and I love trash talk. Trash talk now, I do it in my rugby games, and rugby's a really
that's a man's game.
Middle class sport. It's a middle class sport. It's a toughy nose sport, as we call it over here.
I
Yeah.
Rugby players and Australian rule football players, they got all the credit in the world. They got no pads on. They're out there beating the hell out of each other.
If you watched rugby, I'm telling you right now, you'd be like, damn, the NFL's tough. It's so sad. There are rules to make contact. You can't touch somebody without wrapping your arms. If you just pop the shoulder and you just run shoulder bar someone, red card. You're off the field for the rest of the game. No replacement, no nothing. You are down to 14 men.
You break your own shoulder doing that. You break your own clavicle doing that because You can't hit somebody without the pads on. You can't do it.
But it happens. And red cards in rugby are mad. If you were to tackle somebody and drop them while you've tackled them, it's a red card. You did not do due diligence to put that person safely on the ground.
Oh, bullshit. They call that on quarterbacks now.
This is the difference. This is my argument. Rugby fans look at the American football and think it's soft because of the pads. And I said, dude, I've played both. And I played rugby for 6 years. You can see my finger. You can see this little ring finger. That's as straight as it goes.
Oh my goodness!
I snapped it, and the bone's screwed. And that's playing rugby. And I'm not making out rugby is the be all and end all. I've seen more concussions in one season of American football than I have in 6 seasons of rugby.
Well, yeah, because
the rules are different. You have to wrap the arms. You can't just charge. You can't use your head as a weapon. I remember the first time I did that. I call it a torpedo hit, where you just dive, your whole body just kind of goes and just takes them down. I felt like a true American football player that day. I got back up. I was whooping. I was like beating the chest, everything. I was loving life. But I could have broke my neck.
Yeah, that's the truth. And that's why I could never play rugby. Because
it's not that dangerous. Trust me. There are guys who are like freaking 50 years old who play it. Trust me.
I got a couple of rugby guys from Canada in one of the I play video games all the time, and they're part of it.
It's much softer. My argument with the whole rugby to American football thing, American football players are protected by pads. Rugby players are protected by a rule book. You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do this. Can't do that.
That's partly to protect yourself, though. If you're going to throw a shoulder,
for sure. But this is the argument. Someone. This is my favorite part is when someone sees an American football tackle and they go, and I'm like, that's why they can do that, and they're like, yeah, but he's wearing pads. I'm like, that's the freaking point.
That's why you got so many
pads. He can do what he wants because he's wearing the pads.
But that's
you can't do it because you have a plate. You have this little book this little red tape book that says you can't do this. The dude that came from rugby quite recently that went to the Buffalo Bills, they asked him, and I love his honesty because he did not make it. He's now back playing Premiership rugby. And they asked him and said, "Oh, what's the difference?" They're like, "You guys are like what you're saying to me. Like those guys who play rugby are crazy." And he's like, "Not really. If I could, like, you guys, you take some hits. I've seen guys like even at my level." They get tackled and their bodies go, and their heads are like here, and they hit the deck. That doesn't happen in rugby because no one hits them, so they turn around. They don't hit as hard.
That's why the NFL has such concussion problems because of the torpedo shots you're talking about. The biggest concussion issue is the back of the head hitting the ground. Which last year there was a game where one of the wide receivers went up to catch a ball, and he went up. He caught it in the end zone, and the defensive back hit him correctly. It was legal, but it put him on the ground immediately, and he landed on the back of his head first, and he didn't move anymore. He went like a limp rag as soon as his head
bit of a bang ache.
It put him on the cart, and I had to take him off the field. But the play itself was legit, and it was clean. It just happened to be that the back of his head hit the ground first, and the other two soft spots are the temple areas here.
Yep.
And if a DB comes in and crowns you right there, something about the way the pads are in the helmet, it gives you a knockout.
It ricochets. And basically, your brain is bouncing in your head. That's what a concussion is.
Back to the right.
Your brain is vibrating, and it's vibrating against your skull. That's what a concussion actually is, by definition.
Right. And it causes a bruise. That's the reason they can't come back in. But the sport itself in NFL football, that's the thing they play. They play to get those kind of highlights. At the same time, they're walking this fine line because 10 years ago, we wanted them to do that. Now we don't really want them to do it.
Bang it. You saw the guy who's running down the middle. He's going to catch that seam ball.
Yep.
Gone.
Down. And
now it's
if you're coming across the
now they're
middle,
talking about targeting, or now they're talking about unnecessary or unsportsmanlike conduct, or
you catch a quarterback and you drop him like a sack of potatoes, kind of what you were describing with
Mhm.
kind of you. If you do that and you slam them on the ground, or you wrap them up
you
and
wrap
put
your
your
body
full
weight on
body
them.
weight on them,
Yep.
that's a flag. Well, shit. Watch Roger Staubach get sacked. Watch Terry Bradshaw get sacked. Watch Kenny Stabler get sacked. Dan Fouts. Even Montana was a small man comparatively. So, and wow,
Let's look at Tom Brady, because Tom Brady's our boy, because he's
he's your
Tampa
boy. He's
guy.
just my quarterback.
He had a little bit of he's had a little benefit from these rule changes, but he's also been in the rules when they weren't as soft. So he's migrated through, because when you've been 23 years, you can't turn around and say, "Oh, well, he's always had it good." You can't.
No,
I
he
don't
hadn't
think you
always
can.
had it good, but
It's
he's
progressively
never
got
really been.
easier for him. Is that a fair assessment?
He always had a good, reasonably good or better offensive line and the ability to drop back and pass. The 1, 2,
I mean,
3 out.
they were
The
paying
1,
a
2.
6th-round draft pick, Matt.
Well, it's
They
not how much
had a lot
money
more
they were
money.
making. You go, he did 3 and out or 3 and gone better than anybody else in the league. That's the trick. Step back 1, 2, 3, or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got to go back.
That's what you gotta do.
And get the ball out. The timing of that dictates
Absolutely.
whether or not you're going to get sacked. That's why Jameis sucked, because he couldn't make a damn decision and he wouldn't throw the ball away. So he's standing back there, and
The
Donovan
problem with
Smith couldn't
Jameis
escape
is
his
he's
back.
been a high school dude, and I mean dude because he was the dude, and he was the college dude, and he just thought that would just translate, and it doesn't. It does not, because when you get to the pros, you're not playing against a bunch of guys who are this recruit, that recruit. You're playing a bunch of guys who are the elite of the elite of the elite of their level, who can read a defense, who can do this, who can do that. Like, you're, instead of having like for the sake of argument, you go to Florida State. I'm a Florida State boy, and you might go to Florida State, and in Florida State you've got the quarterback, and so let's say like 5 other players on offense that can read a defense, and on the other side you got 5 other guys who can read an offense. In the NFL, every single one of them can do that job.
Right.
Maybe
And
not all of them, but you know what I mean. It's close to. So
you have 5 guys that can run.
you're now going against, instead of going against 1 or 2 guys who are, I would call them cerebral assassins, you're now going against an entire 11 who can do the same job. Yeah. It's not that simple. And I think he backed his ability. I don't know how much the LASIK and all this stuff came into it. I like Jameis Winston. I have a lot of time for him because he sent my little girl a jersey.
Yeah, you told me that story. That's the human side of him, but the business side of football.
Well, you can look at the business side of things. I remember she was mortified when she found out that he'd left. She was gutted. Absolutely. And it was like one of those things that I don't know what to say because we've upgraded. She was so pleased when we won the Super Bowl, but I'm like,
a little bit.
But she was like, "Can I still support Jameis?" I'm like, "You can, unless he plays the Bucs." That was our rule, and she's been cool with that so far.
Well, he didn't get to play us but once, and it wasn't even a full game. He was out. He was
Devin
down
White
and out.
His ass down.
Yeah, and what Stephen Glasgow said, he was country strong because you could watch. He took him by. He didn't catch him with his body. He caught him by his hand.
Oh yeah.
And pulled him back. And said that's not going anywhere. He went yank.
I believe that Devin White basically said there was something that he did it like carrying something on his farm that made his hands, and you're supposed to wear gloves. I can't remember what it was. It like bales of hay or something like that. I can't remember. Please don't quote me on it because I'm not quoting at all. And he was carrying something on his farm, and he said, "Oh, you're supposed to wear gloves, but I don't do that. I'm a man."
Well,
I carried it, and that made my hands strong because they were like, "Oh, you did this and you did that." Cause I think this was during the Super Bowl season where he literally sent somebody into orbit with his hand off in the Saints game. And he's like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, that's because I did this." And I basically, us country boys, we're tough and we don't care. So I knocked his ass out. I want to get in the end zone. I'm going to kick his ass. I love his attitude. And that's why I'm going back to trash talking. So I got a couple of trash talkers for you. What do you think of Jalen Ramsey?
Yeah, he's got a little bit going on.
He got a little bit going on. So when he was in high school, he used to DM the wide receiver's girlfriend just because.
Oh my God.
So he'd send her a little message and how's it going? And he knew the wide receiver would either hear about it, and if he didn't, he would mention it. So when he mentioned it and his girlfriend didn't say it, doubts are coming up in his head. He's thinking too much. He's in his head.
Yeah.
And if he didn't, if he already knew, he's already doubting. And that was his thing. And he said, and he did admit that that was a super trashy thing to do. Taylor Lewan from the Tennessee Titans likes to tell people he likes to go down on boys.
Oh God. Okay.
He basically said in his podcast that by saying, "Dude, I will suck your epileptic here," that guys are so anti-gay that they would freak out and he would be able to control them. And
I don't believe that. Not today. They've had NFL players that come out and it's not the world we were living in 10 years ago.
This was a couple of years ago, but it stands. It's still a pretty freaky thing to shout out.
Oh yeah, it is. It is that. You know, I mean, I'm not. I don't know. There's a line.
Would you ever pop some trash talk in, Matt?
Not like that.
Talk?
Not
no, like that. What would your trash talk be taught?
I don't know. I just think.
Would you put a guy down and go, "Stay down, boy"?
Yeah, and the best one that I remember that sticks in my head was Andrew Luck, whose idea of trash talk was compliments. He'd get smacked down, laid flat out on the ground, and he'd hop right back up.
And he'd go, good hit. Yeah, I remember.
So you're the defensive player who just planted his ass is wondering, well, damn.
Now it's respect, isn't it? Because you've turned it. Because it's gone from like disrespect, like I'm gonna kick your ass, to he's respecting me for hitting him.
If that was your best shot, look at me. I'm hopping right back up. I'm gonna have a Coke when I sit down on the sideline after I score on your ass because I'm coming now. You know, and
maybe that's the way to do it.
That kind of thing stuck with me. But the ones I liked, I guess the best is kind of like you were talking about Chad Johnson.
Chad Johnson was great.
Even T.O. was kind of like that. But it's the I'm going to do this and watch. You can't stop it.
Devin White got in him though. We've got a couple of guys in our team that does it. I don't know, like from recent things, I would say Antoine Winfield's got it. I mean, come on, you don't go up to a guy and give him the double deuces.
He didn't
have a bit of practical, you know what I'm saying?
He didn't respect him at all. He was just, he's like, stick this up your ass. You're on your third field goal.
You're nobody.
Yeah, your offensive what? You got a kicker. We got that figured out, but you can't score. Well, you know.
That was great.
Here's the thing about that particular deal. Anytime a team gets so full of themselves, like they were talking about Mahomes is the new GOAT. You know, forget about Brady. Mahomes is the GOAT. We're going to pay him $80 million. We're going to let him have a third of the freaking Kansas City Royals as part of his deal and blah, 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 because he's the GOAT. He's 23 years old and he's the GOAT. He hadn't done diddly shit.
He won Super Bowl. We give him that. We give him a Super Bowl. We give him a Super Bowl.
Well, he hasn't done anything but that, right?
He is the Harlem Globetrotters of NFL.
Now, but watch what happens this year. If you watch what happens this year when he doesn't have that wide receiver that can zero fly right out of the damn ballpark, it brings everything back to earth because I think he'll be good. Coach speed. You can't coach speed. So if you got rid of the speed, you're making him more real. You're making him more normal. You're making him have to be like a regular quarterback and actually do things besides this underhanded, overhand, between the legs bullshit that he does. That's all fun and games. If you're a Chiefs fan, that's beautiful. But the result hasn't been there. They're supposed to win the Super Bowl. They're supposed to be in the playoffs, a deadlock every year for the next 5 years because we're paying this guy $1 bazillion and we give him
a lot of money.
And we can't afford anybody else. We can't even buy our water boy because this sumbitch is taking up all the money. So he better come off and show something. And he doesn't have it. He doesn't have the skill to do it. He doesn't have the players to do it anymore. And half of his greatness was like Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen went to the NBA Hall of Fame. Why? Because he was Jordan's number 2. It's Jordan to Pippen to Pippen to Jordan. Dunk. There you go. And that's how that went the whole time. You take Jordan out of the picture, Scottie Pippen's not that good. He's not that bad, but he's not a Hall of Famer anymore. He's just a very good ball player. And that's what's going to happen in Kansas City. It's going to get so depleted because they're paying him so much. He's either going to have to give up some of his money so they can buy a wide receiver again, or he's going to suffer and make a playoff every year, and that'll be it. He'll be like the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe get to the playoffs, maybe not. If he does get to the playoffs, he's done because they don't have the tools anymore. That's what's going to happen. Now, Tampa's got the opportunity here for the next year, 2 maybe, where they can take everything that we've got right now and get all the way to the Super Bowl if we don't get injuries. If we hadn't been injured so bad in so many games last year, we had another Lombardi. It would have happened just as sure as I'm sitting here. It's the injury bug that cost everything. And if we can do it without the injury this year, then we'll have something. If we start to see the injury bug again, then there's something going on with the trainers, and there's something going on in the administrative part of the team that needs to be addressed, because you just shouldn't be getting that many hamstring problems when everybody knows you got bad hamstrings. They should be doing something to prevent that. You shouldn't be getting so many of these things where a guy's out for 2 or 3 games over something that he had last year. He did the same thing over and over again.
Could it be, Matt, that we're just putting, the training wheels on because we know we're going to win? So it's kind of like a case of, please don't say that I'm like, that this is what it is. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Is maybe we're just being super cautious. Like, why go crazy when you can just let a guy out and just let him get right and get ready for the playoffs?
Well, that worked well till the playoffs, right? We didn't show up for one game. That one game we didn't show up the first half.
You are absolutely right. I can't from an offensive point of view for sure. You're absolutely right. And this is just my 2 cents worth. That playoff game, I just don't think that Tom Brady trusted Mike Evans the way he should. And that's just my 2 cents. My 2 cents worth is he likes guys who can cut in, left, right, up, down. And Mike Evans is just go up and snag it.
But he knows how to throw that ball. Brady knows how to throw that ball.
Look, Mike Evans has made a living of just snagging balls.
The offense in the first half didn't even come together until halftime. They just weren't running well. They weren't throwing well. They weren't doing everything.
We started off the third drive looked pretty promising because it was like run. Oh, wow. They can't stop the run.
They're not trying to stop the run. They're protected against passing because that's what's going to hurt them. And that's just how it happened. But
and also, Aaron Donald can't run protect at all. He can't gap. He can't gap protect. He's a pass rusher and he's basically a D end in the body of a interior lineman. He can't defend the run. That's the only thing that goes against his legacy is the fact that he can't defend the run. How many teams have gained so many yards against that Los Angeles team? Too many. They've made poor running backs look like name brands, and he's the GOAT of interior linemen.
Yeah, well,
I like it. I like it. I felt there was a little bit. I feel NFL officiating is a bit soft on him because I remember one of our players throwing off their helmet and getting flagged for it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him throw off his helmet and giving double deuces because he's about to put a ring on his finger because he made a play, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, well that's just what Aaron Donald does."
Yeah, well, that's all blatantly against the rules. 2 different rules. You can't taunt the other team, and you can't remove.
I don't think he taunted because he kind of went to a camera, and that's different. I mean,
I don't
if he was doing it to the team, I'm cool with it. But
you bring that up, and I'll just say this because it pisses me off. I don't like it when you see these damn players in the third play of the game get in, hit a running back, 3 yards behind the line because it happened. They had the right defense on, and they managed to do what they're doing, and that freaking defensive tackle jumps up and runs to the camera and does this or whatever the hell. They know where the camera's at. They know where the camera's at, and they do that. They suck all freaking game, and then they do one good play, and they act like they're superstars. What's wrong with these people?
Our dudes are doing this every game.
I know, and
we're popping up every day. You got Sue going, you got Golston doing it. I love it. And what swagger?
Tom Landry used to
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you as a coach. That pumps your team up. That makes you go, baby. Like that's it.
That you run into the end zone camera and making goof
I
marks?
don't think anyone's running to the end zone camera because they got to go all the way back because it's the next play. But if it's the drive ending play, for sure, because
Well, it's a difference.
usually it's a turnover. But
there's a
I'm
difference
just saying,
between
like,
making
if
a
you
3rd
knock
and
a
2.
team out, enjoy it, because guess what? You might not get it the next one, so enjoy it.
But there's
That's
a
what
difference
football's
between
for.
stopping
It's a
a
kid's
team.
game, Matt. It's a kid's game.
They're grown men.
They're grown
What happened?
men having the
Barry
time of
Sanders.
their
Barry
lives.
Sanders.
Come on,
Sanders
Matt.
would do a
You're not
6-yard
telling me
run.
you put that. You're telling me you don't put Saquon Barkley, the #1 undisputed running back in NFL, on his ass 3 lines from the game, and you're just going to go back and walk back to the line of scrimmage, going, "Yeah, well, you know what? I'll go back to the sideline." Nah, enjoy it.
You go back
Beat
to the
that
huddle.
chest.
You talk your shit in the huddle. You don't have to go run into it's the camera thing I'm talking about. If you're on your,
But it's entertaining. It's
3rd and
entertaining.
2.
So my wife has got a video of me. I think it was during the LA game. You know, they do the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got it down, so I kind of knew this was coming because I figured it. Obviously, after a couple of games, you know what's coming when they get an interception or a turnover. There's a video of me somewhere diving onto the ground doing this in unison with the team, like I'm a part of it. I love it. I'm all for it because that's what I'm about. That kind of stuff brings the juice to your defense because that's what energizes.
If that's what it takes, then you're a bunch of theater fools. You don't need to.
Hey, if you just need that juice. You know what I'm saying? You just need enough. You need enough to get going. I'm all about. Hey, you want to be useful? You bring the juice.
I don't know. I guess. See, we're talking about generations here.
I guess. So what do you think about
Barry Sanders? Barry Sanders would do a 60-yard run and hand the ball to the umpire. He would do a 10-yard run and he'd hand the ball to the umpire. He'd do a 3-yard end around, hand the ball to the umpire, and walk off the field. You never saw him showboat.
It's a different mentality because that's the very humble mentality. Like, yeah, I'm so good that I don't need to just like toss it on the ground. I can just give it to the umpire because I'm that good.
And that's
different.
That's the football I was raised on. What they used to say, act like you've been here before. And that's what there are people that make one play in a game and get burned up the rest of the game. And they got to make
I'm
that
just
one
saying,
play.
all it does, Matt, is inspire your team. Because when you get one guy do it,
one guy who hadn't been diddly shit all game, and now all of a sudden he has one good because of the fact they blocked this guy and they blocked that guy, and he was the only man left.
I'm telling you, Matt, it catches fire because all you're looking for as a defensive coach is something to catch your team on fire, especially with how the offenses in this league are, where they can just light up your defense like it's nothing, and then all of a sudden you've got to go back out there and be like, oh yeah, well we were really humble. Well, humble gets you nowhere. Humble gets you nowhere. Who gonna care that you're humble, Matt? No one. Go out there, hit somebody, celebrate it, have fun, and maybe they have doubt in their mind because that's all you need is that little bit of doubt in their mind that they go, I don't know if I can beat this team. I don't know if I can block that dude. That's all you need is that you get a guy who goes straight through, blap, hits that running back, and all of a sudden they're like, and he's turning around going, you can't block me. All of a sudden they're going, I don't know if I can block him, and then they go and put the other guy in. And he can't block because he ain't actually as good as the other guy, but because his confidence is shot because he just let something through, it catches fire. And I think sometimes you gotta take it.
Oh my God. You see this what Ben Cornett just wrote up here?
Enjoy the attention the Bucs are getting right now, because in a few years, and I'm getting to this because this is one of my things. So,
you got to read the rest of it. Read the whole damn thing.
You're gonna be mad. Have resurrection, enjoy it, baby. Oh my God! All right, maybe not that much.
See, now that's a Buc fan right there. Somebody who's going to go that far.
But you're a Buc fan, right?
I am a Buc fan, but you'll never see me write that.
All right, okay. So I got something that's a little bucked up. You want to hear it?
A little what?
A little bucked up.
Okay.
So here's one thing my buddies and me always kind of throw around. I split hairs when I said this, so I'm interested to see which way you go. Would you rather the Buccaneers win a Super Bowl this year, but for the next 5 years not make the playoffs? Or or don't make the Super Bowl, but for the next 10 years are a playoff contender but don't win? What would you rather?
Well, we've never been either one, right?
No. Oh, no.
So,
I'd say Dungy years we were playoff contenders every year for sure.
yeah, and then we got there and out we went. So that's why he got fired. So
True,
I have a desire to be like the Steelers, where you have one coach, and by the time this happens, I'm going to be 65, 70 years old. But
so you're Chuck Noll in this, right?
I want to see us consistently competitive. You'll get a Super Bowl by default. You'll get a Super Bowl 1 or 2 times if you do that over a 10-year period.
But if someone gave you the blue pill, the red pill, blue pill, you win the Super Bowl this year. Tom Brady's last year.
For 5
years, you will not go to the playoffs.
How is that different? How is that different from 2003, 2004, 2005,
Matt, you go 10 years, no playoff football, but you never win the big one. That's your blue pill.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to take the first one, only because
me too. Because I want to win. I don't give a fuck about no. I don't care. Oh, sorry, I do apologize.
The thing is, a 5-year window is fixable. A 10-year window means that you're stagnant. Ask Dallas. Ask the Steelers. Have been. I like it.
See, you diagnosed this already straight away. You're like, yeah, you know what? 5 years, it's fixable. 10 years, it means you got a problem.
Well, you do. Jason Garrett was there for over a year, and they could not bring themselves to fire the guy, and he didn't do what needed to be done. When you had that many years and you can't manage to get a playoff team going into the playoffs and doing something,
in the weakest football division in football, yeah, for sure.
Against the Giants and the Eagles, for God's sakes, you should be able to wipe them off every single year, and they just can't.
Eagles are a tough one. Eagles are a tough one. That's the only one I go that they should give you a problem, like any year, because they just have good fans.
But they have good fans, but you're going to have them at home once. You should be able to split with them.
Sure. You should be. That's how I always see it. I say, like, okay, that you what you've just said is how I split the season. I always look at, can I beat the Atlanta Falcons twice? Yes. Can I beat the I don't want to seem arrogant. I don't like being arrogant. Can we beat the Falcons twice? Yes. Can we beat
Carolina?
Tampa?
Absolutely.
Twice, yes. Can we beat the Saints twice? No, that's where I'm like, you know what? I'll take 5. Five's done.
New Orleans is a home team advantage because they had Drew. That's not there
anymore. It's also one of the noisiest stadiums in football.
And we shut them right down during COVID. They didn't even have anybody there. So
we
here's
just can't do it regular season.
Right. And here's the thing. We don't know what the Saints are anymore. But we do know one thing. Drew Brees isn't walking through the door, and Sean Payton doesn't park there anymore. He's gone. Mm-hmm. So something's going to change because even if they say, we got the same coaching staff, we got this, we got Jameis, we got blah, blah, blah. One coach doesn't do what the other coach does. Or they have
their own philosophy.
They have their own gig. They try to make the offense work the best for Jameis. Peyton showed him how to do it because you don't do anything big. Your 10-yard your biggest pass is a 10-yard pass, and everything else is down underneath and give it to Kamara. But Kamara's trouble next year because he's got some problems. Jameis is unproven with this head coach. This head coach doesn't have anything on paper except being I think he was a fill-in once or twice. And it all remains to be seen. If we go to New Orleans and they're rowdy and we just can't hear anything, that's going to affect our game.
So here's my take on the New Orleans. I think we'll lose the first game because of how early it is. If it was a game that we go week 6 and then week 10, I got no doubt. No doubt.
What week do we play then?
Week 2? I don't know. Week 2 in New Orleans.
Are we in New Orleans?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we open in Dallas and we open in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's first 2 games.
Dallas, we're doing the Gulf run. We're hitting Dallas and we're coming home. We're doing New Orleans. We're coming home. Yeah. And then we're doing Green Bay at home.
And I think that's the only time they'll catch us with our pants down because I just don't see it happening.
That's their opportunity. But if they have their opportunity and we shut them off, we get them at home and we're going to beat the asses.
We'll take them out. I completely agree, but I just don't see. I think we'll take a loss, in my opinion.
I don't give them that much credit this year. Last year, with the coaching staff and the people that they had, and all of that being
they beat us twice. Who did they beat us with as a quarterback last time?
Well, they started with Jameis and ended up with that Sabian. What was it? Trevor
Simeon.
Yeah, that was
in the second game. It was the other dude. They still won.
The tight end you're talking
about?
That
was that terrible game where we lost, was it 3-9 or something like that?
Yeah, that was
hard.
But that's Sean Payton. Payton.
Yeah, absolutely, but that's defense, and he's not a defensive-minded coach. He's an offensive-minded coach.
Well, he is a defensive-minded coach. He's the one that did the damn bounty gate, remember? He was paying people to break Brett Favre's leg.
Wasn't that Greg Lewis or Greg? I can't remember his name.
You're talking about the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Was taking. It goes all the way up.
Oh, of course it goes all the way up. I'm talking about from a defensive plan point of view, where you write a defense and you run a defense. I would say he's an offensive-minded coach, for sure. All I'm saying is just don't write them off in that game. If we win it, it's a sweep.
I think
it's a sweep. I'm just saying that's our trip-up game to begin with.
If we lose to Dallas in week 1, which is possible in Dallas,
to be honest, I think if we lost week 1, I think we'll win week 2.
That's what I was just getting ready to say.
Because I'm thinking the galvanize of we can't lose 2 in a row because it's over. Well, it's not over, but you know what I mean. It's one of those. That's when doubts start setting in. That's when, like, are we really good enough? Like, if you lost 2 in a row, you're
17-game season, and you're worried in the second week if you're good enough. That's not going to happen. What they have to look at is what's coming down.
It's not just that, though, Matt. It's just the natural fact that it's just a short season, really. I mean, how many games did we lose last year?
I don't remember. 5, 6?
No, we lost 4. That's half the games in 2 games already. So, of course, it's win or lose right there and then. You've got to win it.
Well, who made the wild card position in our division?
I believe the Saints. No. The Saints don't make it, do they? Niners.
Right. They came out of the West Coast.
Yeah. And we did it last year, the year before that.
Yeah, we did it. That's how we got there the year before that.
Mm-hmm.
But so here we are, and it's
I'm not
week 2 out of 17. That leaves 15 more games.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's so damning. If you're trying to hit a number 1 spot, which is obviously the number 1 goal of the team, is to get into the playoffs. Second goal is to get the highest possible seed. You lose 2 games at the beginning of the season. It's hard to turn around and go, oh, well, we won.
We can't go 13-3 or 13-2. I think we can.
13. Hang on, I got to do the math.
If it's 17-week season, you lose the first 2.
You're asking us to go 15-2,
or go in 17-4.
So you're asking us to go undefeated, Matt.
We have done that. We went undefeated for over 12 games, didn't we?
Not 15 games, though.
Over 2 seasons, we went 12 straight or something to that effect.
Yeah, that's true. 11, Matt, I'm not down it. I'm just saying it's a bigger ask. When you take 2 hours at the beginning of the season, it's going to cause some doubt.
If you lose to New Orleans and you lose to Dallas, you still got 5 games left in the division.
Who's next after that?
Huh? We got Green Bay.
It ain't getting any. I mean, it got a little bit easier because they don't have.
Green Bay at home is a walk. We can hit that all day long. It's warm. It's hot to them. It's warm to us. We got them at home with the noise. Aaron Rodgers has not got any tools. He's not got shit to work with.
Look, I get you. I'm just saying it's not as cut and dry saying, oh, we've lost the first 2 games. We're just waltzing into the Super Bowl.
I didn't say that. We can go 15-2. We can.
Of course we can.
We've done it before. So it's not a big deal.
I don't think we've gone 15-2, but
or not 15, 13-2. It'd be
13.
13. That's even better.
It's where you take it out, but I'm just saying, if you take it out like one at the beginning of the season, one in the middle of the season, one towards the end of the season, it's not a big deal. But when you take your first 2 hours at the beginning of the season, it takes a toll because you're hyped up, you're ready to go. Like, we're going to come in, we're going to win a Super Bowl. This is our last year with Tom Brady. We're going to go out there, we're going to win a Super Bowl. Boom, 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 boom. Loss. How do you turn around and go, well, we're badasses? Because you're not going to believe you're a badass. You lost 2 straight. You're still trying to figure out how to tie your shoes.
All right. Well, I'm going to leave it at that because I disagree with you completely. We can
Look,
lose.
I believe the team has it in them to turn it around. I'm just saying it's not easy.
Nothing's easy. Even Fred Swayze says we're going 20-0. Which is easier? 15-2 or 20-0?
What you just said is more easier. For sure.
15-2 can happen.
I'll take 15-2 over 20-0, 100%. 20-0 is an unrealistic goal. We're going to probably lose 3 games to 4 games.
13-4 will get you in the playoffs. We might be a wild card team.
I think 13-4 will get you either second or first. It's a tough season. You ain't seen what the other guys are going to go up against.
Well, we got to go against everybody who was in the playoffs last year. Every fucking team. It's ridiculous.
Ain't no problem.
It's no problem because we got Brady, right? It's Superman Brady and Superman Gronk. It's going to be Crypto and Krypton. We're going to have all that crap going on. Let them get out there and play. But if we lose the first 2, the only person that's going to be upset about it terribly is this guy right here, Fred Swayze Moore. He's going to have to change that number. But he'll still have a peace sign. He'll still have a beer and whatever this other thing is.
I like this style because you can't fault wanting it because we all want it. Aim high, yeah, absolutely. Aim high, absolutely. I just think it's not a realistic goal. Like my old mantra to my team is we're in for a championship. That's where we're at.
If you're worked up about 2-0 or 0-2, if that twists your nut where you can't function for the rest of the year, you weren't a pro team to begin with. You weren't going to get there to start. If you're a playoff team to begin with,
it's more of a difficult climb. That's all I'm saying.
It is, but it isn't. 13-2 is easy. We can do it. We've done it before. We did it with.
I'm just saying it's not that easy. I'm just saying
it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But we're going to get five division games. We're going to win 5. We're going
for sure. Absolutely. There ain't no shot. You're not lying.
We're going to sweep Carolina. We're going to sweep Atlanta
again and again.
Split New Orleans, or we're going to sweep New Orleans and we'll split Atlanta because they've actually got things to work with.
Look, I honestly, for me, when I look at our schedule, the only team I fear are 2: Los Angeles, because they haven't changed.
Yes, they have. They've lost a lot of players.
Not massively, though.
They still have the same quarterback, but
who they lost?
The guy with the glasses that came from Denver, the defensive dude.
Oh, right. Matt.
Yeah. Matt came from Chicago.
No. Okay.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He won the damn MVP in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Went against Carolina.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, I got Mac in my head.
Anyway, that guy is done.
But he wasn't exactly hitting his heights.
He was
good in that game. He was good in that game. And he was good in the Super Bowl.
He was making people block him because you couldn't not block him. So you had to take care of him.
You look at back when we lost against them. Was he in the team when we lost against them? Von Miller. There we go. Von Miller.
Yeah.
Was he in the team when we lost against them beginning of the season? No.
No, he wasn't, but he was there at the end, and so was.
My point being is there's only a couple of teams I fear, and they are Saints, because I think we'll split, and LA. They're the 2 teams I sit there and go, you know what, that's a headache. I'm not saying none of the teams are easy.
I'm not. Yeah, well, Sean McVay he's a good coach. So he can put
but if you keep him in the Tampa Heat, he'll burn because he's ginger. They don't have souls, so it's fine. We'll move on.
He's a cocky little son of a bitch, though.
But that's kind of good though, like because he's Tampa made though. Tampa
his
made
team
though.
kicked-
He was a graduate assistant at Tampa when we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he was something else. He was with Gruden.
Yeah,
So
yeah, he's a Gruden boy.
he
Gruden,
has a lot of.
Gruden, his family helped him out. Something like that.
There's a lot of
Cross
Gruden.
pollination.
There's a lot of Gruden in him, and
Mm-hmm.
when Gruden was here, I liked it. When he wasn't here, he gets on my nerves. But what Gruden did in LA and Las Vegas, he had that team go in the right direction before he got caught up in all that email crap. And he had.
Actually, I like the guy who took over because that takes some doing.
And they fired him.
Yeah,
they fired him. They didn't give him the job. When he fixed that team, when he made them go through the middle of the season,
I heard from a lot of people who played from that team, and I'm not friends with these people, but he was a dude. They were like, you'd live and die for that guy. He straightened it out. Apparently, they were a bit of a joke, like in the locker room, it was just like a mess.
When Gruden got kicked out, they went the middle of the season. They lost a number like 4 or 5 in a row, and then all of a sudden they turned it around. And partly it was because of Carr. Carr took them in the offense and said, "Get your head out of your asses, boys. We can win this." And he got them straightened out. But that coach stuck with them and got them right in one of the most tumultuous years in NFL history for a team. I've never seen another team have to go through that bullshit that he went through. Yeah. And they did it, and they got in the playoffs, and they were contenders. They weren't there. They didn't fall into the playoffs. They
fought their way in. They fought their way in.
And they showed a very good team. And then for him not to get the position of head coach,
it was
after all that effort, that was more than disappointing. That was bullshit. And they're going to call racism on it. Watch. But
it's past now. It's too late. The only hiring that I was a little bit headachy about, and I'm like, this could be a little white privilege here, is the Josh McCown hiring of Texas. They didn't hire him in the end, but I was a bit like, really? A guy who hasn't coached a down, never been a sideline coach. People are turning around to me and going, oh yeah, but he coaches quarterbacks. What? Because he's a sideline quarterback.
Yeah, he's third string quarterback that got the
start. Third, whatever. It doesn't matter. He ain't the coach. He's still just a quarterback. Yes, he's learning from coaches. Don't shout. I don't lack his knowledge, but I think you've got to do something. You're telling me that he's got more of a chance of getting a job at Texas than someone like our offensive coordinator, who's been the quarterback.
Well, to be fair, Byron told Jacksonville no.
No, I'm talking about Texas. He went to Texas?
Who?
Byron Leftwich.
No, he didn't go there. He only went to
No. I know that. I'm just saying that you how, for me, being a Tampa fan, and I always want our guys to do well, doesn't matter if they leave or whatever, that Josh McCown got a job over our offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich.
Yeah, but Josh McCown has seen how many different offenses, and
I don't care how many. He's never ran a team.
He did here in Tampa.
Here you are. You're in the interview. I'm going to be your I'm going to not going to be your offensive coordinator. I'm going to run your team. What can you do? Well, I was a really good cheerleader for my backup and my primary quarterback. Oh, wow. Byron, what have you done? I've been a starter in the NFL. I've won a Super Bowl. I've coached the GOAT. I've done this. I've done that. Okay. But you're not good enough. Sorry, we're going to go with the little white boy who hasn't got a fucking clue about what winning. This is the guy who went to a podium and cried.
He cried because he was losing. He couldn't tolerate it anymore. It went against his inner soul.
And I liked him. I liked him, but I just it was disgusting that he got a role.
He's just useless.
Never coached nothing. Batman's a better coach.
So you're saying Cam Newton should have got that job, but it just never was offered to him because he would have been a better coach.
I don't think Cam Newton can coach. I don't think Cam Newton can.
Cam Newton is done. I'm just bringing that up as a joke. He's done. He can't even sell yogurt.
I like Cam Newton as a personality. I think that's all he is.
Oh, God, he was a weirdo. Hey, if he was your team, I guess you got behind him. But if he was from my point of view, he was just a weirdo.
I think it's just the fact that he just didn't care. And I think sometimes we like seeing someone who just expresses themselves. He's a bit of fun. I remember
He threw a temper tantrum on the sideline of a freaking playoff game because they were 15-0 and they were losing, and he was about to go 15-1.
It's great.
And he threw a baby fit on the
Yeah,
sideline, laid
really.
down on the ground like a 4-year-old, throwing his arms around like that. What kind of fucking quarterback is going to do that in the
Too
NFL?
busy looking at the floor when the ball going down in the Super Bowl. That's a loser mentality, you know.
I lost all respect for him between that and the drop fumble that he would not pick up.
Yeah. I think that's what I just meant.
That's when I lost it all. You fall on that damn ball. You got nothing else to lose. If you get hurt, you're done. If you don't get hurt and you don't pick up the ball,
you get a chance to fight again. You get a chance to fight again.
Yeah, you need to get the damn fumble. But no, he pulled back as a business decision that was as clear as a billboard out in Nevada. You can see.
Oh yeah, he made us say, I ain't getting hurt for this.
And that was some bullshit. It was just he always made Cam hide underneath his Yeah, we did get him under his little drapery. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, we always had our little number with him.
That's true. Man, I'm done. I can't talk no more. We're gonna have
I gotta go to bed. I got a game tomorrow, so
yeah, listen to you. You're up here running off the mouth, and it's almost 10 o'clock here. Oh,
it's
Lord.
About 3:45.
It's almost sunrise for your neighborhood, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, so with that note and a final quote from Teresa Baxter, who I wish to hell would get better.
She sent me, bless her, she sent me a message. I just sent her a message saying, I hope you're doing all right. And she sent me a message, coughing her guts up, bless her. She's saying, don't worry, it's fine. I'm like, save your breath. I'm not worth it.
She said she had she gave me an audio call on Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a thing on some kind of stand-up comedy thing where they're talking about, and you get that voice when you want to take the day off, the sick day. So you call in like Elmer Fudd and you're like, hello, I'm not coming in today. She did that. She sent me an audio message and coughed and wheezed and hacked all through it. I know she's fine. She just didn't want to.
She sat there sipping a nice fine whiskey or something.
Yeah, she's out there having
What do they drink in Georgia? What's the drink in Georgia?
Oh, mint juleps, I think. That's one of those southern things.
Okay, what do they drink in Oklahoma?
Whiskey that they made in the backyard. It's right down the road.
You got some you can send me?
No. I don't run in those circles anymore. There was years ago when I used to be the guy that knew everybody that you wouldn't want to know, but I knew them all. I don't do that anymore.
What if you like a normal Oklahoman? Is that the right word?
What, moonshine?
No. Oklahoman. Is that?
That's right. That's what it is.
Okay, that just rolled off the tongue.
And in Florida is a Floridian.
So what's the standard alcohol? If someone turned up to you and went, dude, I need a drink, what do you recommend? What would you say?
To be honest, it's beer. Everybody drinks beer here.
Okay. And we're a beer drinker here, so we get on.
The liquor stores don't really do a whole lot of bottle business, but beer. I mean, Budweiser. See, now here's something you don't know, and then I'm going to get off of here because it's
it's getting late.
When the Indian Nation was here in Oklahoma, the Indians had a problem, and this is going to sound racist, but it's not. It's a fact. They had a problem with alcoholism, and the American cavalry people would get them drunk on purpose and take advantage of them. So they ended up having issues with alcohol. At some point, when we became a state, they decided that the local natives can't handle their liquor. So instead of a 6.0 beer, which is what they sell in most states that an adult can buy, like in Florida or
Georgia, 6 ounce,
6.6 alcohol content.
Oh, okay.
So if you drink a beer in Florida, a 12-ounce Budweiser, you get a little buzz because it's a 6.0 beer. If you drink Guinness, that's a 8 or 12.0. It's double alcohol content.
Wow. Okay, because that's the difference.
Oklahoma had special beer made that was called 3-point beer because of the natives, and you could not buy anything cold.
You're drinking like 18 of them just to get a little buzz.
Here's a little comparison. My ex-wife had a cousin who lived here in Oklahoma when we lived in Arkansas. And the girl would get off of work. She'd drink a 12-pack every night. It was just part of her lifestyle, whatever. You can like it or
Okay,
leave it.
yeah, cool. I drink a little.
She came and visited us in Arkansas and went down to the store. And the labels are even different. The Budweiser can in Oklahoma at the time did not look like one you could buy in Arkansas. So the ones you got in Arkansas were 6.0. So she went and bought a 12-pack, and she's sitting in our living room. She drank 3 of them. And she's shit-faced. She can't open a bottle. She didn't have a way to handle it. She couldn't do it. She's like, what the heck is going on? It's because it's double the alcohol content. But the thing is, the restaurants in Arkansas charge Applebee's, for instance. You get a beer, bottle beer, Amstel Light or something like that. $5.25. You come to Oklahoma, you get half the alcohol content, and it's $5.25 for the drink.
Damn, they made their money.
Yeah, they're ripping people off left and right. So they finally passed a bill a couple of years ago where you could get regular beer and you could sell wine in the grocery stores. Every grocery store in the state had to put in a cooler section, and they've got wine up one side and they got beer down the other, where they used to have bread and cookies. And they sell out all the time. People buy beer here. It's Baptist all over the place. You know, you don't drink, you go to church, da-da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. But Sunday afternoon and Saturday afternoon during the college football season, boozing it up. You can tell because when they do the can drives to get the aluminum cans so they can do some function they want to do, all the garbage cans are full of Budweiser cans. They didn't go door to door in their neighborhood and get all the heathens to give them the beer cans, did they? No, they took them right off the pool deck and threw them away and crushed them themselves. But they don't go to church and talk about Budweiser. It just isn't done. It's funny.
Maybe if they were sponsored.
Maybe so. I'm going to leave on that wise note. I guess we can work on getting a sponsorship for our local church.
Hey, if they want to send us some free Budweiser, man, you a drinker?
Not anymore. I haven't had a beer in years.
Is that a choice thing, or you're just being good?
No, I don't understand why you get drunk by yourself. And
I don't get drunk. I just like to have a few sherbets, as I like to call it.
No, I can. I quit smoking 3 weeks ago now, and I quit drinking beer regularly. It's been a long time because I had a family member that was alcoholic, and it just kind of etched in my head. I don't want to.
No, it's
money wasted, and the end result, the health issues that came out of it, it ain't worth it. And to sit at home,
I think on the weekend I drink a few beers, a couple of rums. Nothing crazy, enough that I'm still sober. I don't wake up with a problem.
Yeah, I used to drink a lot of wine because I like wine.
Oh, wine's good.
I don't mess with
it. I got
anymore.
A wife. Drink wine with a wife.
Was she a pink, white, or red?
Everything.
Oh my God!
Everything. She still is, bless her. She still is. I'd say white is probably her preference. I like red myself.
You take her to Spain and Portugal and get some sangria. That's
we make our own sangria at home for sure.
Oh, good for you. All right, well, that's enough of that nonsense. Next week, hopefully, Teresa Baxter will be back with us. We'll be 3 across, and if not, we'll have Steve here again. And sooner or later, I got to get you hooked up with Keith, get you a number and all that crap, so you can get on here with.
Yeah, we'll sort some stuff out, but hopefully Teresa's back and we can get back to her.
She needs to do that stuff that opera singers do and just shut the hell up. Drink lemon tea. Don't talk to anybody. Write everything on paper. Don't strain the voice and let it go. It'll come out eventually.
Let it go.
There you go. But that's just my hillbilly way of thinking. I have no idea. She might have something completely different. Anyhow, I no, you probably don't realize it, but we were talking about the Bucs tonight a little bit more.
We had a little discussion. We're a spot Gronk.
And I do appreciate everybody who showed up on the show and commented in the comments. Fred Swayze, Michael, or Swayze. I'm thinking Swayze. Patrick Swayze all of a sudden. Oh, my God.
That would be pretty cool. I mean, he's dead, but.
Yeah, he checks in. We got a problem. Carl Hardy and Ben Cornett, Jared Reed. I may not have said your name out loud, but I saw all your comments. I appreciate that. Do subscribe and come back next week. And the closer we get to the season, it's going to get even more fun when we actually have things to talk about. Right now,
It'll get more
it's
intense.
a silly time. We get sidetracked very easy because there's just nothing else to talk about except for Brady and what type of toilet paper he bought this week. I think it was Charmin Extra Soft. I'm not sure. I think he bought the 12 pack so that it would be readily available in the home. He doesn't buy it one at a time like some people do because he can afford a truckload if he'd like. But that being said, I'm tired of talking about Tom Brady. Rick, yes, I talked about Tom Brady. Yes, I'm frustrated with the press coverage. Yes, I understand the number one team in the NFC. No, I wouldn't be bothered if they quit bringing it up every damn week. But whatever. It's the troubles and tribulations of being a Buc fan.
You are old school, aren't you, Matt?
I like losers. What can I tell you? And on that note, peace out, everybody. Bucs. Oh, I'll steal it from Rick Hughes. Bucs win. See ya.